Good afternoon, people. Welcome back to another video. It's Stephen here on a very wet and miserable Sunday in the northwest of England. How are you all doing today? Are you good? Do give me a massive, favor. Give the video a like if you are new here. Also consider subscribing as well. It does help support the channel. This is 5 things that we learned from yesterday's 2-1 win against Brentford. It was a tough game. It really, really was. It wasn't the easiest game at all. Lots of lessons to be learned from that, I would argue. Not many new, I would still point out. I think there's nothing that really changed, if we're being honest. But it was definitely a fun game of football and plenty to talk about. Got a little bit of a cold today. I thought yesterday was just allergies, but I picked up a bit of a cold. So if I seem a little bit sniffly, a bit tired, that'll be why. But I'm here now. And we're talking about City, so we'll get through this as best as we can. I would like to say quickly before I dive into the video, this video is sponsored by the wonderful people over at Football Prizes, and they've got a great prize available for you today to get involved. An Erling Haaland signed and custom-framed Manchester City shirt. Imagine that on your wall, man. That'd be amazing. With built-in LED lights. I'd love it in the background of my videos. It'd be absolutely wonderful. I might just enter it, you know. I can enter it. 142 tickets sold so far at 399. Click the link in the description and get involved if you want to win, plus the 16 instant win prizes as well, including signed shirts from Mateus Nunes and Ruben Diaz. If that number comes out and you get the number of Haaland as well, then you're very, 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 very lucky and you have a great time. Good luck to all getting involved in that. Fingers crossed when you guys win. It'd be nice to see some Blues pick out Haaland signed shirt, and it'd be very good if you guys win that. Thank you very much to Jack and Brooks and KS Edits in the chat as well. We're going to start with, let me go over to here. We'll start initially with the first thing I want to talk about today, and it's sort of the title of the video. We'll go for this man, Rodri. Rodri, of course, returned at halftime to steady, not a sinking ship, but definitely a shaky ship yesterday, and he was as imperious as you would expect him to be. Rodri, absolutely excellent. You would never know he's not playing a minute for Manchester City this season. 45 minutes of composure, maturity, consistency, everything you'd expect from Rodri, basically. I don't think it was a coincidence that Brentford were nowhere near the side they were in the first half. I mean, it's genuinely night and day stuff. I mean, I'll just try and show you the difference in terms of the first half here. So I'll bring this up right now on screen. 1 second. Let me do a little bit of editing. So this is the first half stats here for you. So Brentford had 52% possession there. They had the same amount of total shots, one big chance. They had more passes than Manchester City yesterday in the first half, Brentford. XG of 0.92, better than City's. This is the second half. Now watch it swing now. There we go. So in the second half, we had 60% possession. They had one shot on goal. They had one shot, not a big chance. We had 1.49 XG. And the passes, 308 to their 205. Literally 50% more in the second half. A remarkable turnaround in terms of control, composure, and consistency. And that cannot be a coincidence what difference Rodri makes. Rodri is imperious. He's the best in the world. And I think that little change around shows you that. I haven't mentioned in this video elsewhere, but I'll talk about Gundogan and Kovacic as well a little bit. I saw a few people getting down on Gundogan because he didn't play that great. Look, I think we're forgetting that Manchester City got over on plenty of times with Gundogan there as well. This wasn't a new thing. Gundogan's never been the best against the most energetic teams. I've seen it over the years against Liverpool. I remember Lee's running rings around us at one point, you know. And Gundogan has always had games where he looks a little bit slow. That's nothing new for Gundogan, you know. So I don't think it's necessarily an age thing. You need the physicality as well as the composure. And I think it's also fair to say Gundogan's probably not quite up to speed yet with the pace of the Premier League on return. That will come with time. But I think yesterday was just crying out for Rodri, essentially. That mature head, the one that everyone trusts. And the way he slotted back into the team, yeah, just absolutely brilliant. You can tell, as good as Kovacic and Bernardo and Co have been, like, this is the real guy, isn't it? You know, this is the actual guy. This is the guy who makes everything special. Like, the reason you win the Champions League and you win 4 in a row is people like Rodri. Like, you know, you can get wins and all that kind of stuff with Kovacic in midfield, but to be special, you have people like Rodri, and that's what he does. So, yeah, absolutely excellent yesterday, and that must be worth a like. Get the likes up if you're watching right now. Yeah, but Brentford were excellent, you know. But Rodri turned that tide wonderfully. Someone said the photo of his age. Come on, mate. It's literally just mid-game, knackered and sweaty. What are you on about? Anyway, secondly, there's also a low compressed image. Secondly, I want to talk about Ederson. I think Ederson deserves his flowers after yesterday. Ederson had a really good game. Not only did he obviously get an assist for Erling Haaland, which is sort of standard Ederson fare. More assists than Antony, I think, since he joined Man United, which is absolutely a wonderful stat. Something like that, anyway. But either way, yeah, he has got more Premier League assists than Antony. He's got 4 to Antony's 3. I mean, he's got a few seasons on it, but it's still really, really funny. 4 assists in the Premier League. But yeah, not only did he get an assist yesterday, I think he also had his best... Made the most saves he's ever made at home in a Premier League game. Yeah, he made 5 saves, which is the joint most he's ever made in a league home game for Man City. While also providing an assist. I mean, look, I think Ederson actually... had a really bad pre-season. He was really poor. He was making mistakes left, right, and centre. I think it was fair to say probably the projected Saudi move that never came off probably unsettled him a tiny bit. I think Ederson clearly had his head elsewhere. The money, the talk of it, maybe allegedly put his nose out of line with Ortega doing really well. But Ederson is back, obviously, in a Manchester City shirt. He's number 1. He's stayed. And he had a good game yesterday. I think we needed a game like that. Lots of excellent saves. Important moments where he rushed out as well to stop a counter-attack. And of course, when you get that, as well as the distribution, you've got a quality world-class goalkeeper. And there was a few times yesterday where, you know, he picked out Haaland in particular, where you think, this is why he does what he does. This is why Guardiola loves him so much, because no one else can really replicate that. Lee in the chat saying that keeper shirt is nice. I tweeted before, by the way, that goalkeeper kits are sort of a black hole for me. I could not remind. Look, you can show me a picture of Ederson from any season, and other than Ederson's haircut, I could not tell you what season it is. I really struggle with goalkeeper shirts for some reason. They're like a black hole in my head canon, and they just disappear. So it's a nice shirt, yeah, but I would honestly never. They don't register. I don't understand. Yeah, it's weird. I have no idea why the kits don't look in my head. But either way, Ederson was good yesterday. And yeah, look, we're going to need Ederson at his very best if we were to win 5 in a row, especially with the games coming up right now. And Inter, he's been great against Inter before, of course. And then, of course, you've got Arsenal next weekend. Arsenal, as I'm recording this, of course, just obviously got a victory against Spurs away from home. It wasn't that impressive. I mean, they were good. I was chatting about Arsenal earlier on Twitter when I said I feel like Arsenal, as good as they are, they don't strike me as a team you'd fear, Arsenal, if you're Manchester City's level. Obviously, if you're, Ipswich, whatever you would do. But largely, I don't know. Something about Arsenal. I'm just not feeling it. Let me know in the chat how you feel about Arsenal this year. Right. I want to talk about the Kyle Walker debate online. I feel we need to sort of rein it back a little bit. Now, I have my opinions on Kyle Walker, but even I know the Kyle Walker debate has gone a little bit too far. I mean, Kyle Walker didn't play well yesterday. We need to be fair to Kyle Walker and also John Stones. John Stones is probably not getting the same attention as Kyle Walker, mainly because he had a lot of injuries, so I think the question mark's still very much out on that. But the Kyle Walker thing, he didn't play well yesterday. Online, there was lots of calls for Kyle Walker to not be the guy anymore. I would probably slightly agree that actually this is Rico Lewis's time. I really think it probably is. But it doesn't mean you need to throw the baby out with the bathwater, you know? Like, I don't feel Kyle Walker is ready just to be dumped entirely, you know? I still think there's usefulness there with Kyle Walker, more than usefulness. And even though he didn't play that well yesterday, we also got to be fair to him and say it's his first start, you know. Everyone deserves a chance to rectify it. And I know you could turn around and say, well, it's like last season. That's absolutely true. It's genuinely true. I do feel we're going to need everyone, though. And someone in the chat, Tom, saying we've no reason to bring him back in the team. There is every reason, mate. You have to make sure. Look, for one, Ake's out. We need players fit. You can't just, bring them off the bench to get fully fit. They need match practice to get the mistakes out of the way and get there. We're going to have to use everyone. Like, the rotation is necessary. And Rico, look, to me, Rico has shown that he's a smarter player. He makes us tick going forward. We keep the ball better. Positionally, defensively, I would feel that Rico's probably better as well. And my concern with Kyle Walker is that so much of his game was based on physicality. And even though he's still got a high top speed, I don't think he's quite as sharp as he used to be in terms of the turn. I don't think he makes decisions as quick as he used to either. He was never the fast decision maker, and I do worry if all that leads to a guy who was never the best on the ball anyways, feeling a little bit, I don't know, like trying to do an impression of who he used to be 2 or 3 years ago, and I just don't think he's that guy anymore. There's no shame in that. That doesn't mean he's not useful, and as much as he makes me cringe every now and then in press conferences with his words, I don't think he's a natural leader that way. He's obviously respected by his teammates, and they like him, hence the votes and all that kind of stuff. So I've got no problem with being there. I think we all just need to remember that Kyle Walker, is still a good player. He absolutely is. I'm not sure if he's world class still. He might be at his very best, and I think he's probably still capable on his day, but he's not awful, and I think people are slightly overreacting to that. And someone said to me yesterday, why are you not talking about John Stones? And that's a good point. I would argue the reason I'm not talking about John Stones is because Stones wasn't fit last season, so I think it's fair. He was he was on and off of his fitness, whereas Kyle Walker was fit and still played pretty poorly. So you could argue that Gundogan people have got a little bit more. Not Gundogan, sorry, Stones people got a bit more patience for, but that's not necessarily always fair. I think Stones, maybe it's both. Stones, Walker, are we seeing signs of a slight decline? Look, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. Like, we have a tendency as fans to look around for weaknesses and overplay them. You can win 4 leagues in a row and you can still have a breakdown because a guy who's probably your best ever right back, who's now a bit older, starts the game at right back. Look, come on, we need to be realistic about our complaints here. And I do think he's past his best and all that kind of stuff, but we need to, calm down a little bit with our reactions. It isn't, the sky doesn't fall in because Kyle Walker plays the game, I think Rico Lewis is the future, and I think we're seeing that. But we're going to need Kyle. We're going to need everyone in this squad, The debate will continue for a long time, almost certainly. Fourth thing I want to talk about is that I think Haaland ridiculously can find another level entirely. Look, Haaland playing with a lot of heart, a lot of hate, not hate, that's not the right word, sorry, I apologise. Haaland playing with a lot of heartbreak yesterday, a lot of sadness in his heart. Sadly, they had to go through that, but we saw a sign of Haaland yesterday of that mental fortitude that he's got. The fact that he did that yesterday is a testament to his fitness, his focus, his brilliance, his maturity. I feel so sorry for him. I'm not sure I could perform like that, going through what he's gone through. I couldn't. And I know I couldn't, in fact, even though I had that ability. I think Haaland is a special footballer, and I think he's showing signs of getting even better. I really, really do feel that Haaland has plenty of time to reflect on his progress so far at Manchester City in the summer. Of course, he sat on holiday, watching the Euros, watching his teammates, chopping wood in Norway in a log cabin somewhere in the mountains, being a traditional Viking, essentially. But I feel like for the first time in a long time, he's fully fit. There's no injuries, no pain in his body. He's also had time to reflect on maybe last season's form, which, while still very, 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 very super effective, still one of the greatest goal scorers in the history of the Premier League last season. But now, I feel like he's looking at his form and looking at where he went wrong last season, and I'm already seeing signs of him improving and working on his game. He said, I've forgotten which keeper it was now. Someone correct me in the chat, but he said recently that there was a certain keeper he was up against where he knew that he had to take his touch first because the keeper stays on his line and he shot too early or something like that. So he went closer and closer to the goal because he remembered last season the keeper did a certain thing to cancel out. Which keeper was it? I can't remember. The West Ham game. That's what it was. And it's little things like that where he's analysing his own game. And I would argue as well, the way that I can't remember who it was. You guys will have to correct me. But West Ham, Chelsea, it was one of them. But it's little things like how he's analysing his own game like that, and how I would argue he dealt with the physicality of their defence in the way that he pinned it back for the goal. The movement's fantastic. That goal is the most Haaland goal ever, but also it shows the genius of his movement. To read the flight of the ball like that from Ederson, not even look at it. If you watch it back, he doesn't look at it. He makes the run, stands in front of Pinnock. He doesn't block Pinnock. He just stands his ground. Pinnock bounces off him because he's stronger. He's got every right to shield that way, Haaland. It's genius stuff. It's an understanding of the physicality. It reminds me a little bit of what Drogba did so well at Chelsea. If you can get that side to his game, look, absolutely. Haaland, weirdly, for such a big guy, he doesn't always use his physicality that well. He can do it, and he has done it in the first season in particular, but there's the odd time where you're thinking, just bully people a bit more, you know, because he's very capable of doing it. He does do it. And that was Haaland doing that yesterday. He bullied them. And I think overall, there was a hunger and a desire. He was chasing rebounds. He was pressing really hard. He had a real steely determination. His link-up play, I would argue, is getting a little bit better. He's played some nice passes, some nice touches. And he's scored some genuinely brilliant goals so far this season. Like, he's scored long ranges and screamers. This isn't just tapping Haaland, this, lads. This is Haaland with great movement, great work rate, scoring great goals, bullying defenders. I feel like he can find another level entirely that we've seen so far. I think he can break his own record from the first season. And I think Haaland right now just looks absolutely motivated. A man who had a good season last year, but not the great one that he aspires to be. Yep, and he's looking great. Finally, Savinho continues to shine. I wasn't sure what to put here as number 5, but do you know what? I was looking for all the players, and I wanted to chat about Savinho a little bit again. Put this way, I don't think he's injured. I'd be amazed if he's injured. He made a bit of a mistake and then did that classic, like, hobbling, pretending to be injured thing. Not sure if he was just continuing to sell it. Maybe he is. I don't know. I felt like he was playing up a little bit, if I'm being honest. But I also want to just, once again, praise Savinho. Look, he didn't do anything truly special yesterday, but his consistency with running at defenders, trying to make things happen. Also, I was really impressed with his work rate. I feel like we've got a gem there, genuinely. When it fully clicks for Savinho, he's going to start adding goals and assists massively to his game. And I think he will do. It's in his blood inherently. I think we've got a very special Manchester City talent here. Like, we do look different, and there is a different vibe. I agree with Cassius in the chat there. It is a different vibe, and I think Savinho brings a lot of that. I'm so excited to see how good this guy could be. There's that one moment in particular where he did the Mahrez regen rumours, absolutely no harm at all, when he skipped inside 2 defenders. He's very good at 1-on-2s, by the way. He skipped cycle defenders, drifted in field, and got a shot away. I mean, he should have maybe released the ball, but he's young, he's brilliant, he's fearless, he's good on either side, he runs at people, he works hard, he's got a very good understanding of the space around him and others around him. He holds onto the ball a tiny bit, but he doesn't seem to give it away when he does, which I really like. I think Savinho is a star in the making, and I've got a feeling he's going to start a lot more than we realise. Guardiola likes him, I can tell already. The fact that he was straight back into the team, the fact that he continues to shine despite being so new. It took a lot of very good players a long time to adapt to the Guardiola winger, but some people just get it because they're not scared of what they do and who they are. And I think Savinho will end up feeling like a Doku in terms of his skill, but I think he'll be more productive, and I can't wait to see how he goes. Yeah. It should be interesting. I can't wait to see how he plays against Inter or Arsenal if he plays against them as well. Look, Arsenal game, of course, next week is going to be massive. They did win, of course, today, but if we beat them and Liverpool losing, look, I feel we'll be absolutely fine at, and I feel like the league. Look, I can't explain it. I feel like we'll be absolutely on fire at that point. I think we'll be unstoppable. But they're the 5 things I took from this game anyway. I want to talk a little bit more about it quickly. Rodri is Imperious as ever. Look, Rodri immediately absolutely excellent. What a phenomenal footballer. The way he changed the game yesterday, so good. Ederson is finding his form. So good yesterday in both areas. Kyle Walker, the debate continues around him. I think it's overblown a little bit. Do you know what? Virtual DNA is just reminding me in the chat of something I forgot to talk about. Josko Vardiel. I was going to talk about him, but I forgot. But either way, I think I'm happy with these subjects. Vardiel, great in that little cameo. Haaland fan another level, and Savinho continues to shine. Don't forget, there is, of course, a wonderful prize you can win over football prizes. Click the description if you want to win a signed Haaland shirt. But now, thank you very much for watching, guys. I love you all loads. Let me know your 5 things learned in the chat below. Watch the match reaction from yesterday. And until we'll be with us very soon. In a bit, bye-bye.